originally known as the Talons Aquila, these Space Marines are descended from the gene stock of Corvus Corax, Primarch of the Raven Guard Legion, founded during an unknown founding and were originally completely Codex compliant. For some reason, there are no records of the chapter's actions during this time. Early in M41, the Talons Aquila responded at full chapter strength to an Imperial distress beacon on the edge of the Thracian sector that mysteriously went silent after mentioning Tyrannid forces in an unknown system. During warp transit, the battle barge of the 8th Company became separated from the rest of the fleet and was waylaid by warp storms. Upon the bulk of the fleet's arrival in the system, the ground forces of the chapter deployed to the only inhabitable planet in order to face the forces head-on. However, any tactics that the chapter had on combating Tyrannids were more or less useless, as the Hive Fleet they had encountered was Hive Fleet Ouroboros, and the ground forces of the Talons Aquila were wiped out to the man. The fleet in orbit was also almost completely destroyed. A week later, the battle barge of the 8th Company finally emerged from the warp, only to find the enemy gone and a graveyard of ships floating in orbit. The 8th Company then all headed to the surface in a desperate search for survivors, but it was in vain. Whilst on the surface, some of the chapter's war gear was able to be recovered in addition to some chapter relics, which included the chapter standard among their number. As the company's landing craft departed to return to their battle barge, a previously thought dead Tyrannid hive ship surprised and destroyed it. However, an Auspex scan showed that the flagship of the chapter fleet and home ship of the 1st Company, the Talon Imperialis, was still intact and relatively unscathed from the battle. So, the company's landing craft and Thunderhawks docked aboard. They then discovered that the moment the chapter master fell, the only surviving member of the 1st Company, the chapter's head tech marine, had shut down all systems except life support and shields in the hope that the Hive Fleet would pass it by and that the vessel and the memory of the chapter could be saved. Unfortunately, the re-engaging of the ship's system had attracted the attention of the Hive ship, and it slowly made its way through the void to consume them. The tech marine then dealt the 8th Company another blow and informed them that the ship's weapons were non-functional as the gun deck servitors had overloaded and burned out during the battle. Thus, the tech marine gave the 8th Company access to the armory of the 1st Company. The armory contained modified jump packs which functioned in the void that allowed the company captain, Zacharias Cadicus, and his retinue to exit the ship in order to execute a stealth attack upon the hive ship. They also were all equipped with graviton weapons in order to crush the ship with its own mass. This strategy was a raging success, and after a withering barrage of grav fire, the ship was reduced to an oozing ball of biomass. Upon his return to the Talon Imperialis, Captain Cadicus was named chapter master and declared eternal vengeance upon the Tyrannids, especially those of Hive Fleet Ouroboros, and thus changed the chapter's name to the Avenging Talons. This name was taken to avenge their chapter, as they believed that, as almost the entire Apothecarian was lost, along with their ability to produce more than a few new Space Marines, the chapter was doomed to go extinct. After this, the armory of the 1st Company was explored in full, and a single, complete set of Volkite Serpentamoritite armor from the Great Crusade was uncovered and was gifted to Alexios Kyranos, the chapter's greatest pistol duelist, by Captain Cadicus, who then named him the chapter champion. For the next 8 centuries, the chapter operated at single company strength and were desperate to keep their numbers up in order to preserve their chapter for as long as possible, so they adopted a strict battle doctrine of brutal hit-and-run tactics so as to reduce losses and to inflict maximum damage before withdrawing. This meant widespread use of jump packs and teleporting terminators in and out of combat zones. However, With the return of Lord Commander Gilliman, the chapter has been reinforced with 9 new companies of Primaris Marines who have adopted the chapter's hit-and-run assault tactics wholeheartedly, utilizing greater than normal numbers of Reaver, Aggressor and Inceptor squads, and very few Hellblasters and Intercessors. As a fleet-based chapter, they recruit from a variety of worlds and colonies, resulting in a unique chapter culture with influences from all these worlds, from honor in combat from medieval worlds, although they disregard this aspect when combating against the Tyranids, to pistol duels to settle disputes from hive gangs.